Did you know Gen Z and millennials are actually leading the return to church? New research from the State of the Church 2025 initiative shows they're going more often than older generations. Pretty wild, right? The research is provided by Barna and Gloo. That's Gloo. Gloo is all about helping pastors and leaders by connecting the faith ecosystem with the latest research, tech, and even values-aligned AI. It's high tech for a higher purpose. Check it out for yourself. Just text JOIN to 46816. Again, that's JOIN to 46816.
Life Audio.
Thank you for listening to Your Daily Bible Verse, the podcast that examines one verse each day to learn more about God and His will for our lives. I'm your host, Kyle Norman. After a brief message from one of our sponsors, we will continue with today's verse.
There's no way around it. When it comes to healthcare, people are really frustrated with how much it costs and how to pay for it. The usual ways we've been doing this have only gotten more expensive, more complicated, and honestly, just aggravating. And that's why Medishare is such a welcome relief. It's called healthcare sharing. It's different and it works. More than 1 million Americans are now doing this, and Medishare has been a great option for more than 30 years. So really, you could save thousands of dollars a year on your healthcare and be happy. Imagine that. If you've heard about it and you want to know more, there are two easy options. Go to Medishare.com/believe. That's Medishare.com/believe, or just grab your phone and send a text. You'll get the info, which could really help you and your family out. Text the word believe to 70246 to get the facts. Text BELIEVE to 70246 and you'll get the link. That's BELIEVE to 70246.
Did you know Gen Z and millennials are leading the resurgence in church attendance? New research from Gloo and Barna shows that they're now attending church more often than older generations. That's a historic shift. And behind this discovery is Gloo, spelled Gloo. Gloo has a mission to serve those who serve, pastors, leaders, publishers, and more. And they do it by connecting the faith ecosystem with the latest research, technology, and values-aligned AI. That's high tech for a higher purpose. See the research yourself. Just text the word JOIN to 46816. Again, that's JOIN to 46816.
Americans have a big healthcare problem. Over 100 million citizens carry medical debt while paying for overpriced and complicated health insurance. As Christians, we don't have to pay for a broken system. Christian Healthcare Ministries is an alternative to health insurance at half the cost. Plus, you can enroll at any time. Stand up to health insurance with a biblical solution. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
Today's verse can be found in Mark chapter 10, verse 13. People were bringing little children to Jesus that he might touch them, but the disciples rebuked them. In one of the churches where I served, I had a lovely Irish couple in the parish. Let's call them Fred and Doreen. They were strong in their faith, having met in their childhood church back in Ireland. Fred and Doreen spent more years in the church than I had been alive. But on one occasion, they got into a conflict with the mother of some very active twins. See, in Fred and Doreen's mind, children were to be seen but not heard. They should only come to church if they could sit still and be quiet. Otherwise, they were just a distraction to the more important activity of adult prayer and worship. By the time I got called to navigate this conflict and visit Fred and Doreen, well, they had made the decision to leave the church. The Gospel of Mark tells an account of when people brought children to be blessed by Jesus. The disciples, however, take it upon themselves to rebuke the children and shoo them away. Now, before we start to lambaste the disciples about this, let's be honest. They probably had some good reasons for acting as they did, at least in their minds. We don't know what surrounds this event. Maybe Jesus was amidst healing people or performing some type of miracle. Maybe he was talking to someone else. We know that the very next story in Mark's Gospel is about Jesus' conversation with the rich young ruler. So, did the disciples shoo the children away so that Jesus could talk to someone more likely to be a disciple? Children in the ancient world were often seen as a nuisance or a bother. They were dependent, and they were needy, and they were often in the way. So, as the disciples shoo the children away, they probably believed that they were acting in a way which was honoring to their Lord. But in doing so, the disciples forgot a lesson which is important for all disciples to know. Jesus doesn't need our protection. It's telling, isn't it, that the disciples rebuke the people that come bringing children. Rebuke. The same word that is used to describe Jesus quieting the wind and the waves on the stormy sea. It is the word used when Jesus commands a demon to come out of a small boy, and now the disciples, acting in an authority that they do not have, they try to decide who gets to approach Jesus. Do we ever act more like Jesus' defenders than his disciples? Do we believe that it's our duty to protect Jesus from the likes of people who come to him? There are many ways that we might do this. Maybe we think that worship must look like a certain way, employ a particular form or liturgy or a style of musicality. Maybe we think that people who come to worship need to look a certain way or wear a certain type of clothing. Maybe we think that the blessing of Jesus are reserved for certain types of people. People who speak like us, behave like us, look like us. After all, how could Jesus call them to the table? All of these things probably make sense to us. But in behaving in this way, we step outside of Jesus' mission. John 6:44 reminds us that no one can come to Jesus unless they are drawn by the Father. And so when the crowds of people bring children to Jesus to be blessed by him, they are responding to the invitation of the Spirit. Sure, it's not happening in a way that the disciples were used to or maybe even comfortable with. But the most important thing in that moment isn't the comfort of the disciples. It's the blessing of Jesus that the children are welcome to receive. Fred and Doreen, they left the church for about 6 months. But then one Sunday they came walking through the front doors again, and I was able to chat with them briefly following the service. And Doreen recounted to me that during the summer break, they went back to Ireland to their childhood church, and they were excited to walk into a building that meant so much to them. But on that Sunday, and they walked through the doors of the church into a kids' service. Children were everywhere and doing everything. The sermon was a skit, and the hymns involved children banging on noisemakers. It was pandemonium. But during it all, Doreen closed her eyes and prayed, "Okay, Jesus, I get it." Jesus invites us all into his embrace. And that invitation might look different for others than it did for us, but that's because Jesus meets us where we are and offers us the blessings and the grace that we need for our own transformation. As his disciples, our call isn't to manage his invitations, to codify it, to limit it, or protect Jesus from people accepting it. Our call is to help people uncover the very blessing that we ourselves have been enfolded by.
For some of us, personal finances aren't just personal. They include loved ones, neighbors, the communities we call home, and the causes we hold in our hearts. At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than just money. We help you put your plans into motion and faith into action so you can do more for the ones in your heart. Because sometimes all you need to make a difference is someone to help you make it happen. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.
Want to win this holiday season? Aura Frames make it effortless, personal, easy, and unforgettable. Upload photos, share videos, and even preload memories before it ships, so your gift feels thoughtful from the moment it's unwrapped. For a limited time, visit auraframes.com and get $45 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames using promo code LIFEAUDIO at checkout. Don't forget to mention Life Audio Network at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.